French Idol by Richard Aldington. We sat together in the trench, he on a lump of frozen earth, blown in the night before, I on an unexploded shell, and smoked and talked like exiles, of how pleasant London was, its women, restaurant, nightclubs, theaters, how at this very hour the taxi cabs were taking folk to dine. Then we sat silent for a while as a machine gun swept the parapet. He said, I've been here on and off 2 years and only seen one man killed. That's odd. The bullet hit him in the throat. He fell in a heap on the fire step and called out, My God, dead. Good Lord, how terrible. Well, as to that, the nastiest job I've had was last year on this very front, taking the discs at night from men who'd hung for 6 months on the wire, just over there. The worst of all was, they fell to pieces at a touch. Thank God we couldn't see their faces. They had gas helmets on. I shivered. It's rather cold here, sir. Suppose we move? Oh, hello. I didn't see you guys there. Welcome to Bitcoin Talk Show. Just reading a little bit of poems of the Great War, 1914 to 1918. One of the books that I brought back from Europe. In fact, this entire stack is books that I brought back from Europe. And if there are no phone calls today, I'll be either showing you a little bit of the book, maybe some pictures, or try to read you a quote, or maybe even unwrap one of these books that's still in plastic wrap. But that's right, it's Books from Europe episode today here on Bitcoin Talk Show. But let's get it started right now. Here's Rocky. He's going through the snow. This is Rocky 4. The sled doesn't want to move. It's filled with his heavy friend Paulie, who seems to be still smoking a stogie despite the snowstorm. The Russian winter blows around Rocky as he attempts to struggle past the makeagift.com sign. Pull, Rocky. Pull. The price of Bitcoin is up. What's that? I'm sorry, what's that again? The price of Bitcoin is up 7.94%, 7% in the last 24 hours, with a last of 3,514, a high of 3,525, already capped, a low of 3,242. That's $1 for 28,657 Satoshis. Ouch. Checking out the top stories in Bitcoin today. Ethereum beats Bitcoin Cash's price for the first time ever as crypto markets see growth. Different. Bitcoin is dead, says crypto millionaire. Okay, all right. Once again, Eric Finman gained renown after becoming one of the earliest crypto millionaires, and now says the virtual currency that made him wealthy is headed to the trash bin. Bitcoin is dead. It's too fragmented. There's tons of infighting. It may have a bull market left in it. Oh, what is this kid? About 18? We'll see. Bitcoin dead. Checking out the Bitcoin market. Where's the headline? Look at that, the little headline. I like it. Is the Bitcoin currency in line for a bull rally? Bitcoin price watch. Could be. They're putting the arrows on the charts. The arrows say it could go down or it could go up. Once again, other people have said we have to go down even more, 1,800, 2,500, or once again, sometimes it moves before you want it to, like it didn't really break to 20. It went to like 19.5. Could this be finally the Bitcoin up? I don't know. I'm pretty much in despair. Bitcoin climbs 7% as cryptos look to snap recent skid. I love how fast they're writing these articles, but I love how little information they're putting in these articles. They put the price, they put the market cap, they put the analysts, the 200-week moving average, where long should look to exit. So this could be the legendary dead cat, or Bitcoin could go down lower. Meanwhile, looks like altcoin prices are surging higher as well, with Ethereum up 10%, Litecoin up 12%, Ripple up 9%, and Bitcoin Cash up 11%. Bitcoin futures marched higher on Monday as well, with the CBOE global markets showing 9% up, and CBME Group December contracts also up 9%. Blockstream boosts Bitcoin satellite service with Lightning payments. Nice. Bitcoin users' ability to send transactions through outer space now includes the Lightning Network. The Layer 2 scaling solution has been added to the Blockstream satellites, which lets Bitcoin users transfer Bitcoin through leased satellites. Initially, users in Africa, Europe, and the Americas were able to utilize the system. The system is aimed at individuals with limited internet access or otherwise face issues accessing Bitcoin. Excellent service from the Blockstream satellite. Who needs Verizon? Blockstream broadcasts the entire Bitcoin blockchain from space. Space. My power to demolish is 10 times greater than my power to promote. How John McAfee became the spokesman for the crypto bubble. Pretty good quote here from McAfee. Definitely would not want to mention or offend Mr. McAfee, but definitely agree with what he's saying here. It's easier to demolish than to create. And we've seen an incredible amount of demolishing this year. McAfee continues to talk about Bitcoin, and without a spokesperson, maybe McAfee is the spokesperson. A vacuum. Circle CEO, in 3 years, Bitcoin is certainly going to be worth a great deal more than it is today. This is the guy that left Bitcoin. This is the guy that turned off Bitcoin in his app for about a year. He could have been in a much better place if he had believed in Bitcoin during the last bear market. We'll see if he's still there on the other side. Jeremy Allaire, CEO of Circle. The price of Bitcoin on Bitstamp, looking at it a live look, zooming in. Still some ups, looking for the red, getting to the 30-minute. Still not seeing a significant amount of red. It must be coming, one assumes. Looking at the 1 hour chart, we still have a bit of a pop from 32.39 all the way up to, looks about 33.95, maybe even 3400 before dipping to 33.85, then breaking through 3400 to 34.69, resting right now at 34.55. We're joining you in the chat. What do you think? Is it over? Is this the Bitcoin bounce, or is it another dead cat bounce? Remember, you can say both ways is best. Always predict that it's going up and down so that your information has the most utility value. Shout out to Irishman in the chat. He was here first, and it's a private party just for him. Give us a thumbs up and a share so maybe it won't be a private party, and we'll get phone calls. Get your questions ready. Get your comments ready. It's time for you to call into the show just after we talk to the chat. So how's it going, chat? Fox Coit says, give the Irishman a magazine. Let's start this live. Fox Coit wants to know what Bitcoin will next do. Bitcoin will next do the opposite of whatever you need it to do. If you sell, it will go up. If you buy, it will go down. If you hold long, it will go low. If you short, it will go up. Bitcoin is an opposite machine, but it's our good and friendly opposite machine that surprises us each day with something new. Fox Coit says, Irishman says, Bitcoin is changing the world. Yes, it's making us all go crazy. Crazy. Peter says there's snow in Stockholm, also in Estonia, and the world is much smaller than you think. We're going to the moon, and the moon is covered with snow. Rolando agrees it could be a dead cat bounce. Maybe this is a time to get a 8% bump on paying your tax bills or whatever nightmare you're going through personally. Peter Martin says, no red, only green. Only green, at least for right now. He says it's not a cat, only bear. Looking to see if we've gone above the previous highs. Not really. We're up above some of the bumps, but this little bump right here, 34.82, we've not broken through. So let's see what's going on. This is the client support line for the Bitcoin company. You can call us now at 518-600-1949. Is your Bitcoin malfunctioning? Is it not sitting there in your wallet like it's supposed to, equaling 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin? You can also call us on Skype at World Crypto Network, all one word, from anywhere in the world for almost free. You just have to have a Skype account. That's today's Bitcoin news. Checking in on Twitter, working on some projects. I need to sing some songs, have to do multiple takes. Remember, you can join the Mad Bitcoins Patreon at patreon.com/madbitcoins. Help support the show. Keep it going. Support Mad Bitcoins at patreon.com/madbitcoins. The more I promote it, the more it goes down. We now have 56 patrons supporting us with $363 a month. I hope that you'll join so that it'll go up instead of down. Although, thanks so much to the patrons who have supported us and might have given up. So we'd also like to give a shout out to Tallycoin. Try to get the Tallycoin fundraiser up here. We weren't planning on that, but it's always good to show the QR code in case you're out there sitting on a pile of fiat and you're just like, I like this show. I want shows like this to continue. This is kind of a public broadcasting moment. They say Patreon's having an exodus. Well, if you don't like Patreon and you just want to support the show, we're still trying to recoup expenses from our Europe trip. If you like the videos from the Blockchain Honey Badger conference in Riga, from the Hackers conference in Prague, and from the Malta conference in Malta, you can donate now to the QR code on your screen with Bitcoin. It's okay if you have to go into your account, convert fiat into Bitcoin, send the Bitcoin, maybe send a message, say, hey, cash out these right away. Maybe you're worried about the market too, but you can always support the Mad Bitcoins and the World Crypto Network right here by donating to this show with Bitcoin. We've had 27 donors. That's almost 30 people. That's almost as many people that are as watching right now. So if everyone gave us a like, we'd have 30 likes. If everyone gave us $1, we'd have $30. We want to thank to our donors. Most recently on the 13th, that's 4 days ago, donor 0.00120.256, 0.0003928, and 0.001828. Thanks so much to those donations right here on Tallycoin. Oh, we just got a new donation. Whoa, big donation. Thanks so much to donor 0.1 for supporting the show. That's a great donation. And we're just trying to keep things going here on the show. Thanks to donor 0.00289. Every donation counts. Everything matters from $10 to $100. We're up to $665 towards our goal of $2,000. And we're going to be talking more about Europe today because if no one calls in, and again, this is not a threat because I'm totally willing to carry it out. If no one calls in, I will show you books from my vacation in Europe. So here it is. Here's another book. This is Basilica Dominica di San Marco in Firenze. And that means it was from Florence. And this is a very old looking book that I picked up near a church. And I'm not sure it's really been shown on the internet very much, this book. So maybe it's a nice chance to show you some cool pictures of a church in Florence. Well, I thought it was in Rome, though. So maybe I'm wrong on this. But church from Florence, a lot of nice religious art inside. We're taking a look right here. Maybe I'll share it with you. The audio podcast people can't really understand this book because it's a picture book, but they're not all going to be picture books. Just happened to be the first one on the stack. We also have the Basilica of Saint Cecilia in Rome. There it is. This one is in Rome. And this is also a book from a church written in English, fortunately. Would have been a bad buy if not. But what I liked best about this church is I got to go down into the basement, into the catacombs. And they had a whole private thing down there. They had private masses. Here's some pictures of the catacombs. You can't really see. This is from a different basilica, maybe. But Went to lots of churches in Rome. Here's a postcard of the church. And you can call in right now at Skype World Crypto Network. That's the underground part. You can see how incredibly decorative it is. Sorry for the reflection of the computer screen and the light and everything, but I could show snapshots, but that's a different show. This is a show about books. So we're checking it out. Seems like we're on a church run here. Building complex of Santo Spirito in Florence. So yeah, we've got church book, church book, church book. They're saying the price is 34.70. We're keeping an eye on the price of Bitcoin, and also you can call in right now. Tell us, what do you think about the price of Bitcoin? What do you think about Alessandro Allori, Christ and the Adulteress? Looks like a very serious painting right here from one of the churches, this church in Florence. This looks like the church that I might have went to the all the little rooms, uh, the monastery in. But this would be the church attached to the monastery in Florence. Incredible churches in Europe, totally different than America. Just a different experience, not something that we have here. Looking at the Derby Museums, check that out in Derby in England, the north and the central part of England. I saw some exhibitions about bones and animals, what animals look like under their bones, and learned a little bit about Derby and what it was like there. They once were attacked from the north. They came all the way down to Derby, and then they stopped, and they turned around. They went back home. So there is hope. But now we get to the exciting books. Look, it's a book in a bag. That means it's much more valuable and very nice. This book is a first edition from 1941, and this was given to me by my friend at the London Bitcoin meetup. It was a pretty incredible story. My friend, I'm trying very hard to remember his name. I remember he was from Iran, but he lived in England, and he was full of energy. And He was very excited to hang out with Mad Bitcoins, and we all hung out that night in London. And he'd heard me talk earlier in the day about the poem and the painting, "The Lady of Shalott," which I'd just seen in the Tate Museum there in London. And on his way to the meetup, Asta, he had picked up this. Oh, I just got a frog in my throat. He picked up this incredible, beautiful, aged volume of poems that includes the poem "The Lady of Shalott," and he gave it to me at the Bitcoin meetup, and it was just the nicest thing. And uh, my friend, uh, my friend Victoria from London, she says she tells this story all the time. She's so impressed that someone liked Mad Bitcoins and liked the Bitcoin show so much that they brought us this book here in London. So thanks so much to my friend in London who brought me this book. It's a beautiful gift, and I appreciate it very much. He was worried because I'd said on the show I didn't want books, but part of that because I have a book problem, and that the more books you add to the stack, the easier it is to add more books to the stack. So people are debating in the chat if the price of Bitcoin is going up or not. Someone's been buying all the way down since 4K. Others say that this spike is just a spike designed to fool you. What do you think? Let us know in the chat. Check us out here live on the Bitcoin Talk Show. Check us out. You can call in live at Skype World Crypto Network, all one word, or on the telephone at 518-600-1949. I think I got that right. Let's see. That's correct. And I'm supposed to put it in the chat too. I'm going to type it into the chat here right before I read this poem. Try to remember my name. So it's Skype World Crypto Network. Call. Again, I'll stop talking about books if you call in. Otherwise, it's all books, but we are keeping an eye on the price. We're talking about it in the chat. We're very Bitcoin focused for a show that's about books I got in Europe. So thanks again to my friend in London for this beautiful book about Tennyson, written by Tennyson. Bigger. Looking at the price of Bitcoin, 35.22. Zooming in a little there. Get you that exciting candlestick action. You're joining us live. We are watching the price of Bitcoin. We just did the news. We gave out the phone number, and now we're talking about books that I bought in Europe. The Lady of Shalott. On either side the river lie long fields of barley and of rye that clothe the world and meet the sky, and through the field the road runs by to many-towered Camelot. And up and down the people go, gazing where the lilies blow, round an island there below, the island of Shalott. They say the call went to voicemail. I don't think so. Let me double check. Oh, there's a call coming in, but why am I not hearing it? Oh, how come no audio? Okay, so we're checking out some audio issues here. Plugged into this one, plugged into that one, but I couldn't hear the ringing. Huh. All right. Darn, you guys were getting such a good poem. And people are like, oh, we want that poem. Rolando says the price is going back down. They say, oh, there's some red on the chart right now. We're seeing 35.07, 35.03. Oh, we're watching the price of Bitcoin. We're trying to figure out why I don't have sound. I'm going to try turning it off and on again. And I'm going to see if I have any sound at all in my headphones or just no sound here. We're keeping up with the price of the Bitcoin, and we're trying to take your calls here on the World Crypto Network. First, just a sound check. All right, so I have sound in my headphones locally. Excellent. And then a sound check for the server computer. Can you hear me in the booth? Connecting. Connecting. Requires your password to connect. Connecting. All right, got the server computer going. Looking for some test sound. This is gonna be fun. Okay, I'm getting sound from the browser in the server window. So why don't you give us a call right now at 518-600-1949. I did see a call blinking by. Maybe I wasn't looking at the screen as well, but give us one more chance. It should ring. Not sure why it wouldn't. Let's see. Oh, unmute site. Okay. Use sneaky Firefox. Okay. I unmuted the now it's hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, Thomas. It's Russell Roth again.
Hey,
And I'm calling from Missouri. I'm actually in Missouri today.
nice. In Missouri.
Yep. And I wanted to talk a little bit about price, a little bit. But before I did that, I just wanted to say I hope everybody appreciates me, you know, keeping them away from having to look at all these picture books.
Oh, I've got some more right here. Wait till I get to the treasures of the London Museum. Oh man, there's some incredible pictures in there. They have the Rosetta Stone. They have the like statues of Egyptian kings and so on and so forth. It's incredible. So.
Right. Yeah. Those. I'm sure those books are beautiful, but. So I just wanted to talk about the price of Bitcoin. I personally feel that we're maybe in a bear trap. Possibly, it's going to go up a little bit and fool people thinking it's going to go up, and then it might go back down again. But that's just I do listen to a little bit to what Tone says, and what he says does resonate with me, what I feel and thinking. And that might be the play, but it might not be. We never know what Bitcoin's going to do. It might be just floating sideways between 33,000 and 3,500, and might stay there for a while. And it just that might be what's happening. I don't know, but that's what I was thinking this morning when I got on to my exchange and did my dollar cost averaging. It just looks like it might be just floating in that area. Kind of, to me, it's a good time to DCA right now.
Yeah, the video I watched this morning, I think it was from Crypto Coin University, something like that. But I was looking at YouTube videos, and he was all about the amount of volume. And he said for it to be a true capitulation, he needed to see this giant volume spike as big as all the other volume spikes. And that when he went back on the big chart, I don't have the view here, but on TradingView, you can go back on the big chart. You can see all the volume, and that the last time it capitulated, it was giant volume, giant volume, giant volume. So I don't know if we're there yet. This is nice and encouraging this morning to see a little 7% up to remind us that it can go this way. Of course, I know it took a lot of people selling to make this price go up. Every time I sell a little bit, I know the price goes up. You probably, every time you buy a little bit, the price goes down. We're all moving this market in the wrong direction. We're all counter indicators. It's very tough to be right all the time in this.
Yeah, I don't even try to be right, because I have certain days I just gonna put it in every day that day, and that's what I do. It just I don't look at the price truly to check the price out to see where it's at. Okay, is it time to buy or whatever? I just buy it on a regular basis, and because I'm a truck driver, I don't have time to watch the markets and stare at the screen and go blind. So, because I got a seat to drive, I can't look at the screen while I'm driving. That would be dangerous. So, I can't do that. So I don't even pretend to try or even understand how TA works, because I don't know. I just don't know. I listen to all this stuff, but without being able to watch what they're telling me that they're doing and what it correlates to, what it means, it's all Greek to me.
Well, and it looks really good in the rear view mirror. In hindsight, it's easy to say that they were right about all this, but let's always remember they were always kind of hedging. They're always like, it'll go down, then it'll go up. Even now, it's going down, then it's going up. Even this up that we're having might not be a real up. This might be a dead cat up, where it goes up and then it goes right back down again much more violently. No one knows this market exactly. They're using their triangles and all that kind of thing. But yes, if you believe in Bitcoin long term, you can hold it. And definitely, we all need to keep our jobs. Maybe I'm going to have to get a job here. We're looking at this thing. We're trying to keep it going. We want to talk about Bitcoin and everything, but if we can't, we can't. And the last time that we had the big bear market, I also had to get a job. So we are hoping we won't have to do it this time. We're open to suggestions. We've got the Tallycoin fundraiser. We got the Patreon. Or maybe do some sponsorships, do some more advertising here. I don't know if that would destroy the experience for you guys, but if we could make a living wage, that would improve the experience for me. But yeah, I still think Bitcoin's awesome. I still think it's useful. I still think it does a lot of stuff. It has the network effect behind it. A lot of people are thinking, Bitcoin's really weak right now. We can just destroy it and it's going to be awesome. They'll get rid of it. But Bitcoin just keeps going because of the network effect. As much as you might be reaching despair and you might be giving up, someone else is like, oh, this is great. This is the buying opportunity I've been waiting for. And they're in a totally different experience in their Bitcoin time, right?
I agree. And one thing I was thinking about, and I've heard a couple of people mention something like this. If you look at the trading volume, I don't know in Bitcoin how often it happens, but I know, like with some of the smaller coins that I believe in, like let's just take Litecoin, for example. Every Litecoin that's been produced is being traded every 3 or 4 or 5 days. I'm sorry, I never trade my Bitcoin. I never sell it. It's stayed in my wallet for as long as I've had it. So how did all those Litecoins get traded in 3? It doesn't make any sense. What's happening. So I think there's a lot of I don't know, funny business going on, and I think Trace Mayer might have hit onto something. If everybody by the 3rd of January takes all of their coins into their possession, so they hold the keys, we'll find out who's not even able to get theirs, because there's not that many coins out there. And I'm just curious to see what happens on the 3rd, because that's a big movement going on. I don't know if you've heard about it, or I haven't heard you talk about it, but I think that's a pretty brilliant move, is to let's call these exchanges out. Let's find out who's actually repoficating and cheating, and who's not, and let's get rid of these bad actors.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like a good idea. I don't know if that'll remove the manipulation. I think the big money is here and the big money is going to hold on to what they have in their exchanges, wherever it is. But if we, the small money, could affect things, why not pull some money out of your Bitcoin wallet? We're looking at the proofofkeys.com website right now. Looks like somebody did a nice makeover on that website. Looking good. Way to go, Trace and team. And yeah, I think it's a good idea if you have a safe Bitcoin wallet like a Trezor or a Ledger that you bought in a secure fashion from directly from the company. It had a security seal, all these kind of things. If you've used it before, if you're familiar with it, if you're comfortable, then yeah, I think you should pull your keys off the exchanges. In general, if you're not trading, that's to say, if you're not going to sell that or trade it into an altcoin or something in the next few weeks, you shouldn't keep it on an exchange anyway. It's just not a good practice to keep your coins on an exchange. You never know if the exchange is going to go offline or disappear. It could happen overnight while you're sleeping. So yeah, I think the proof of coins is a good idea. Proof of keys. I just want people to be careful. If you're not comfortable with this, do $100. Proof of keys with $100. You don't have to move your life savings to your Trezor if you don't feel comfortable with it. If you're a long-term Bitcoiner, you have lots of money, you shouldn't keep it on an exchange anyway. I don't think we're exactly talking to you. I like the proof of keys thing. I'm just not sure how much it does, and it's the kind of thing where somebody had a lot of money in it and they are technically not that great and they didn't know what they're doing. I'd want them to be very careful before they just move their money for a political statement on proof of keys. But as long as that's included, I think it's all right.
Yeah, I agree that being safe about it and secure about it. I remember when I got my Trezor the first time, I went onto it and started moving my change. I did it really slow, just making sure I followed the directions, and it worked fairly simply, but it was kind of okay. I'm taking it off of my online wallet and putting it into this offline wallet, and I don't keep it in an exchange. I keep it on a Exodus, but still, I prefer it to be in my in my my Trezor. But I can't do that all the time. I gotta have some, when I buy it and I get it over into my Exodus wallet, and then once I get enough money that I start feeling okay, that's a little bit more money than I want sitting there on the computer on the internet. Well, then I'm going to go put it over into my X, my Trezor. So, but I remember the first time doing that, it was kind of intimidating, if you will, because I had a little bit of money in there, and even though it's been going down, it was still quite a bit of money, and so you're just going, I hope I'm doing this right. I hope I wrote the right keys down. I hope I did everything that I'm supposed to do, even though I'm sitting there with the instruction book open, doing exactly what they tell me to do as I read it, and doing it, checking it 3 times, 4 times, because I'm so nervous to do this wrong. I really don't want to lose that, because it's a lot of effort that when you start saving and it starts after a few months and you've been dollar cost averaging, it becomes a substantial amount of money, and you don't want to just let all that. I consider it work that I've done to earn that money. So that's storing that work. And so I don't want that work that I've stored, I don't want it to be, just lost into the Ethernet or something like that. It was a little bit, but it wasn't that hard. It really wasn't that hard. And I thought, this is too damn easy. It's got to be harder than this, but it wasn't really that hard. So it might seem intimidating, but for those of you that are scared to do it, it's not really that hard. Just the directions are there in the book. Just make sure you get it from like Thomas was saying, make sure you that you have a secure, device, because you don't want to get it from somebody who has, put a back door in it and can steal your money.
That's right. And I think it's a good idea that you could transfer 100 out and, like you're saying, transfer $20 back. Let's make sure that you know how to move your money out of this thing before you move your money into this thing. If you were going to say put 10 grand in there and you put 100 in and you moved it out successfully, that's a good time to put the 10 grand. Don't just dump 10 grand in it. And then if you need that money back, say in a week or something to pay your rent, you don't know how to take it out of that Trezor. So let's be careful on both sides. Like Russell's saying, let's read the manual. Let's go slowly. There's no reason to rush. You can test it, like Jeremy's saying, with small amounts. You could put $5, $10. I remember I put like a Litecoin in a wallet once to test it, like a paper wallet, and I never got that Litecoin back. But it was only a Litecoin. It was only $5. But I guess now Litecoin's worth more than that.
Well,
So
that's a good idea. I'm glad I called you, because don't know if I would have heard that anywhere else. I need to, because I put money in it. I never took any money out, so I need to go in and take a little bit out.
yep.
To just test to make sure I know how to get my money back out before I start putting more back in there. So
And that it works too. I mean, it's
that's a great idea. So
the great thing about Bitcoin, the fees, everyone's always, oh, the fees. But let's say the fees are like, okay, $5 a time. Well, if you're going to move your money in, you move 10 bucks in, that's $5. You move 10 bucks out, that's $5. That seemed to work. You could test it with your entire stack. You could put 10 grand in the wallet, take 10 grand out, pay the $5 fee, whatever it is. You did a huge test of your system. And if there's a hacker in there, maybe the hacker's just waiting till you get the price up, till you get the value to steal your money. I mean, it's not unreasonable. If I was selling, Trezors on eBay with a back door in them or something like that, I could be a little patient. Also, I like the exchange strategy, because you're looking at everyone's accounts at the same time. So you're just looking for the sum of all accounts to equal the number. And then when it reaches the number, you just exit scam. So, not to say that they're doing that, not to say there's anything wrong with your wallets, but you could always test them this way. You could put the money in them. You could make multiple wallets. You could make paper wallets. Try it out. I think proof of keys is a good day to test out how to send Bitcoin. And a lot of people just buy it on Coinbase and sell it on Coinbase, and they never get the fun or the actual experience of sending it. And when you send it, when you really stop and think about it, you're like, wow, I sent value without using a bank, without using a corporation, and without using a government. How is it possible to send value that way? And sure, we all used to send torrents, or you download a file. You understand how that value works, but that's still kind of ephemeral value. You have to value the music in order for it to be valuable. You have to value the movie. If it's a bad movie and you watch it and delete it, what value did it have? But now with Bitcoin, we're actually transferring data that has value across the internet, and just trying that out on your phone, putting some in a wallet, putting some in another wallet, putting it in the Trezor, out of the Trezor. That's what I think we should do. That's what I think we should make Proof of Keys Day about, is just about trying it out, not so much about wrecking exchanges and being all, let's take all the money out. Let's see if we can break the system, because, it might break the system. And yes, it's fun to break the system, but it's also going to be a problem if they break the system. But I don't know that they're going to have that level of adoption. But it's a nice idea that if 10 people decided to take their money out of some small exchange, if they didn't have it, it would be exposed. It's a little romantic though. I don't know if it's going to happen.
yeah, here's one thing I think about when you were talking about those fees that made me think of. Okay, let's say I have 50,000 that I want to transfer over onto my Trezor or my Nano or whatever it is I'm using. So they're complaining about $5 to send it in, send $100 in, $100 out, well, and now 95 out. So now you've got $90. I would much rather, and I had the same thought of before I went to buy a Trezor once, and I said, $130 or whatever it was. I don't want to spend that money. And then I started thinking about it, and I said, well, you're being an idiot. I have, way more multiples than $130. I could buy this Trezor, and yeah, I spend money. It goes out of my hand, yes. But now I'm taking my money, putting it over there, and it might cost me the money to put it over there or whatever, but that's a small amount compared to how much I'm saving. So I'm willing to pay that little extra to make sure that I'm saving this because the way I believe in Bitcoin, 20 years, I won't give a damn about that $130 I spent to get my own bank in my own possession, as opposed to having given money to a bank and say protect my money, and they're going to get rid of it all. So to me, it's a small cost of protecting a larger fund doing that. So that to me that's a fallacy of a sentiment, I guess. To me, it is. I'm not saying that to anybody else. To me, it is a fallacy of a sentiment saying I'm spending too much money for this device when the device was to protect a whole heck of a lot more than $130. So that to me, that argument doesn't hold water, because I'm not spending $5 to protect $27. I'm spending, I'm protecting a lot more money than that. So that's how I look at that. It's just a matter of, I guess to me, it's a matter of perspective. Am I willing to spend a little to save a lot? Yeah, I am. I am willing to do that.
Well, I agree, Russell. It's definitely a good argument for buying your first Trezor or your first hardware wallet. And it's also a good argument for buying your second. Maybe you have too much money in it. What would your money look like if it was in two different wallets? Well, someone would have to crack both keys, or they'd have to find both hiding places, or they'd have to guess both PIN numbers. So if the cost of buying a second hardware wallet, like you're saying, is only $130, a lot of people should be getting their second, maybe their third, their fourth. Get a bunch of Trezors, get a bunch of safe deposit boxes, get a bunch of safes, bury it in the yard, whatever you think is the most secure system. Let's hide a little bit of Bitcoin for the future. I think that's a good idea. And it's also one that you don't think of, that you're just like, well, everything's fine. I got some money in Coinbase, or I got it in the vault, or I got it on 3 or 4 exchanges, or an old computer, or something like that. I really think that writing down those words, that's the most important thing, putting those in a safe place. And then the Trezor is like your way of using the words without having to recreate the wallet every time. So great devices, good to test them out, definitely.
Agreed. Yeah, I've been thinking about getting my second, my second hard device. I might get a Nano this time. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna, but I've been thinking about, diversifying the devices that I use to save that wealth, to save that value, and not have it all in one place, and maybe try to find a way where I can start buying some Bitcoin without having to KYC and all that stuff, so that I can maybe have some quote unquote clean crypto, and not that I want to avoid taxes, but I don't necessarily think the government has to know everything I've got, and so some of those thoughts have come through my head, and thinking that maybe more than one wallet is needed, to protect myself and to keep prying eyes out of what I've got, So just some thoughts. Anyways, it was good talking to you, Thomas, and I'll come back to looking at your books.
All right. Thanks so much, Russell, for the call. Give us a call anytime. And definitely agree with what Russell's saying there about the clean crypto. Not to do anything wrong with it, but I just think it would be a fun thing to collect, like a keychain or a quarter from 1925, something like that. So if you did have a separate hardware wallet, and you did have a wallet on your phone that you trusted, that you think was clean, and or maybe some paper wallet, something like that, try to get $10, maybe buy it at a meetup or buy it off one of your friends. It doesn't have to be a large amount of money, but just experiment with the idea that that's actually cash money. The rest of your Bitcoin, not really cash money, because it's kind of linked with all your other Bitcoin. So if they really want to find out where it came from, they'll find out. So they're saying this is the moon. Friedrich thinks we found it. We are here. We're looking at the price action on Bitcoin right now. It's looking like $3,542. It broke high to 3,585 before falling back down. Started off around 3,459 before we had this bit of a little move. They're saying in the chat They think it's a dead cat bounce. They don't think it's the actual one. Looking at the previous highs, we have now broken the previous high of 34.86. That's a pretty recent high, though. We're talking, it looks like December 12th, maybe. Yes, December the 12th. Zooming back out, did we break the previous high of 36.36? No, not yet. That was from 12.9. So we're keeping an eye on the previous highs and the previous lows, seeing if this is a dead cat or if it's a legitimate bottom and the end of the long, hard Bitcoin down run. It's never going to be that, but wouldn't it be great if it was? Thanks to Russell for his call. That was fun. I remember you can call us now on Skype at World Crypto Network, all one word. I'll pause it. You can write that down if you need to. Or you can call us at 518-600-1949. We've got the window unmuted, so it's ringing properly again. We're taking your phone calls. And remember, if there are no phone calls, I will show you more books from Europe or read you the poem, The Lady of Shalott. Last, I think we left, I told you about my friend who brought me this book through the streets of London. I've got business cards falling out of the book. Chief Operating Officer at a company in London. So Robert gave me his card. Willows whiten, aspens quiver, little breezes dusk and shiver through the wave that runs forever by the island in the river, flowing down to Camelot. 4 gray walls and 4 gray towers overlook a space of flowers, and the silent isle embowers the Lady of Shalott. By the margin, willow veiled, slide the heavy barges trailed by slow horses and unhailed. The shallop flitteth, silken sailed, skimming down to Camelot. But who hath seen her wave her hand, or at the casement seen her stand? Or is she known in all the land, the Lady of Shalott? Only reapers reaping early in among the bearded barley hear a song that echoes cheerly from the river winding clearly down to towered Camelot. And by the moon the reaper weary, piling shells in uplands airy, listening whispers, "'Tis the fairy, the Lady of Shalott." Remember, you can call us right now on World Crypto Network, Skype, all one word, or at 518-600-1949. They're talking about treasures and ledgers in the chat. Thanks so much, my friend, for this book. I'm not going to make you guys read the whole poem today, although I might. But it's a great poem. It's all about this lady and how she can see great Lancelot from far away, and he looks like a real winner. And she thinks, well, I'm going to leave the castle, go get me some of that Lancelot. But she was never to leave the castle. Maybe there's some kind of curse. Maybe something's wrong, but she doesn't make it. It's a bad deal for the Lady of Shalott. Something about Lancelot being too pretty. She couldn't say no. Just like Odysseus and the Harpies, such seductive powers will drag you overboard. Is it time? Is it time to give in to the seductive powers? I don't know, maybe. Looking at the price of Bitcoin, we got some hot action. Looks like 35.40. We're keeping an eye on that. And of course, we're taking your calls here on Bitcoin Talk Show. But we've got more books from Europe because that's not all. In addition to that book I got in London, I also got this book, Discover San Francisco. That's right. Why did I get a book about San Francisco? Well, I was in Frankfurt, Germany with Theo, and it cracked me up because here's a guidebook to San Francisco where I used to live. A great city, fun place to live. And I was like, hey, there's that, that building used to be right down by my house, the old Maritime Museum right there. And so I had to pick it up. Plus, it had this great piece of found art in it. Maybe it's a chance for me to work on my German too. But here is a piece of found art. Let's see. It's written on this speckled paper. You can't read it, but someone says something about how much they're looking forward to meeting you or to going on vacation with you. And I think they're going to go on vacation in San Francisco, and it must have not gone very well because whoever it is donated or gave away this book. And I found this book in a open library. They have like a little case in the city square. You can just open it and get a book. And I found it in Frankfurt, and I thought it was really fun. So, German Guide, San Francisco. We're doing books of my Europe trip. People say they're FOMOing. They're talking about the difference between Trezors and Ledgers. They say Trezor does a better job supporting old hardware, whereas Ledger has made it harder to use the old Ledger Nano. And I can agree with that from personal experience. I tried to get into one of my Ledger Nanos not too long ago. I couldn't find the software. I found it tough to get into. I don't think I really have anything in there. I mean, I'm not throwing it in the garbage or anything, but no, I couldn't really get in. It was tough to get in. So I would say Trezor as well, although that's not an official endorsement. And I used to have a key on there. You could say Mad Bitcoins on Trezor. I would get a little donation. I think I need to set that up again. But our next book is the National Museum of the Bargello, which was from Firenze, which is again Florence, Italy. So I was on my way out of Florence, city of museums, had to check out of my Airbnb, and I figured I could take the bus down to this museum, check it out, and bus right back, catching the checkout time for my Airbnb. It worked out great. I got to see this museum. It's funny, the computer's narrating what I do, but I got to see this great museum. It was full of statues. It used to be a prison, but then somebody like Goza or somebody painted something on the wall, and they're like, "Damn, we can't. That painting's too good." And now they made a museum in the prison because they can't move the painting. So they say that we're FOMOing yet, watching the price of Bitcoin. I think people are going to be like, "Oh, this is it. This is my one," and then of course it'll go down again to break your heart. But checking out the National Museum of the Bargello, check that out. Oh, we've got the here it is, the 3 books that I bought at the British Museum. The British Museum broke me pretty bad because they gave a donate. They said, if you spend over £12, we'll give you the big book of the museum for free. And I was like, oh, it's so easy to spend £12 at a museum. So I picked up this book on the Lewis chessmen. This was a set of chessmen. They're Norse. They were found in the north in a cave or frozen or something. Stolen, of course, by the British. Some were given back to the Scottish, but mostly stolen. So, and these are also the chessmen that can travel through time and space, according to some Stephen King book that I haven't read yet, but I'm going to check out soon. You can give us a call on Skype. Let's try it one more time in the chat. Otherwise, we'll head towards the end of the show, maybe show some more books. World Crypto Network, 4518 600 1949. Trezor versus Ledger. What do you guys think? Somebody's lost their money on altcoins and they want you to just give them money. Good luck with that one. Irishman says he sent stake money. Thanks so much to Irishman for supporting the show. And remember, you can support the show by donating at the Tallycoin fundraiser. You can donate Bitcoin, or you can donate at the patreon.com/madbitcoins or /World Crypto Network. Grabbed a couple more books at the good old British Museum here. I got Hokusai's Wave about the wood cutting, which they said they had at the British Museum, but they wouldn't show to me because they only take it out on special occasions or something with the quality and not wanting it to get in the sunlight and so forth. Here's one of it on the side of a building. That's pretty cool. The Great Wave, fantastic artwork. There it is in a comic strip. Looks like that. It's in Remis. It says all French. But yeah, it's that comic strip they made a movie out of with Spielberg. I forget the name. And finally, of course, I got the Rosetta Stone book from the British Museum because I saw the Rosetta Stone thanks to someone on Twitter who pointed out, they're like, hey, do you know the Rosetta Stone's in that museum? And I was like, stop everything. I went to the immediate museum guard. I was like, where's the Rosetta Stone? She said, down 5 floors and over. Within a few minutes, I was down 5 floors and over, looking at the Rosetta Stone, totally blown away by seeing actual history in front of me. It was an amazing day at the British Museum. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Tony from New York.
Hey, Tony. How's it going? What's on your mind about Bitcoin today?
Yeah, it's going good. Actually, visiting New York for a course. What's on my mind is been watching the show lately, and you talk a lot about the price of Bitcoin, right? And a lot of it sounds sort of sad and like we should have sold at the top, and we're sad, and now we're broke, and so I was just wondering, none of my business, of course, what your financial situation is like and how much you own and all those sort of things. But you sound like, yeah, you got wrecked. uh,
Yeah, yeah, there's been some ups and downs, Tony. We definitely used to have more than we have now. Generally, for someone like me, I'm kind of making my living off Bitcoin. So if I get a donation, it's in Bitcoin. If I hold a savings, it's probably in Bitcoin. So when it goes down, it all goes down. Also,
yeah,
go like this, the viewers, the advertising, everything else kind of goes down too. The interest in Bitcoin. So no, I mean we're pretty much on our way to the job market here or the sponsorship market if we can monetize the World Crypto Network in a non-offensive manner, where everyone can benefit and it's win-win for both sides. So no, yeah, it's gone up, it's gone down. Definitely, I think people should sell more next time. The HODL thing, it's interesting because on one hand, HODL helps you get there because we wouldn't have gotten that far, that close to it without the HODL. But on the other hand, HODLing puts this idea in your head that this is the most Bitcoin you'll ever have. This is the number that you need to have. This is the one you need to hold on to. And the reality may be a lot more like you need to pay taxes. So I'm getting to that reality myself. I don't want to, it's not about the numbers or what was won or lost or whatever. And I was not a very early Bitcoiner despite being in this game for about 5 or 6 years here making videos. So what I had, I had. It went up, it went down. But yeah, I just want to have this forum. People can talk about it. I want to be honest about my situation. And I want to emphasize with everyone else's situation because other people have had bigger losses. Maybe some people recognize gains. I'd like to hear from them too. And even then, we're talking about loss of profit here. So as hard as it is to mentally separate, I never had that money. You never had that money. It was potential money that we lost. So no, I mean,
yeah,
how are you doing, Anthony? Is it all right for
yeah.
you?
I'm good. So the thing is, you say you were late to Bitcoin. I was very late. I got into it, well, cryptos in general in November, December last year, about a year ago. So top of the bull market, and bought some shit coins, lost a lot of money, you know. But the thing is, I have had the fortunate position of only spending money I can afford to lose, and that's sort of, I'm also fortunate to have a good job and make more money than I need for my sort of direct living expenses. Um, and so that sort of begs the question about people like yourself. It really sounds like you are counting on Bitcoin to sort of, well, I mean, don't want to offend you, and I don't want to, maybe I'm getting it wrong, but it sort of sounds like you're sort of counting on Bitcoin to solve all your financial problems, or like, I don't have to have a regular job anymore. And isn't the right attitude to have a job anyway? And I mean, promoting Bitcoin and doing this is also a job. But if it's not paying your bills, then yeah. What do you think about that?
Well, I'm open to it. I'm not just doing the same thing forever, and I'm not just giving up here. I'm open to getting a job again in marketing or getting a job at a crypto company, something like that. I'm starting to reach out to the people, and I'm open to monetizing this show, doing advertising, things like that. Again, it's harder to do the advertising when the numbers are down. I think
Yeah,
that there's still a value to doing this kind of education about Bitcoin, to telling people about it. And I do want to work more towards educational and perhaps paid educational materials here. So that's another option. But generally, when it's going up, it seems like everything's going fine. When it's going down, that stops. So you have different kinds of plans for different kinds of environments, and it moves really quickly. You think you're in one environment for a while and you could stay there, and then 6 months later, a year later, you're in a totally different environment. So, no, I think it's very hard to make money on YouTube or in an artistic thing like this, even if it is educational, even if it is service-based. I mean, certainly we could get into the prices and we could get the triangles on the chart here, and we could tell you that I know the prices and I could put clickbait in the headlines, and that's always been an option, and people do that. I just don't think that's the way to go. I think Bitcoin's more interesting than the price. I think it's good to talk about the education, to talk about the possibilities, talk about our ideas here. And I think it's good to have people share their personal stories here where they can call in. We're kind of creating a little bit of history, a little bit of primary source here that we're laying it down. This is what we thought about Bitcoin at this time. And anyone can contribute. So I want to keep doing it as long as I can. And if I can't keep doing it, if I have to sell for taxes or if I have to get a job for taxes or whatever it is, I'll do that too. Not in complete despair here, but we do want to work through this and we want other people to know that it's okay. And there are other people out there that suffer from this and that there are ups or downs. But yeah, I definitely suggest people keep their jobs, get a good job, and to just, invest a reasonable amount. But also on the same side, when you make a lot of money, it might be time to sell. So we need to find a way to be both in love with Bitcoin, the technology, but not so in love with Bitcoin, the technology, that we put ourselves in a bad financial situation. So it is just
Yeah,
a complicated thing, I think. So
it is. And listen, I really do appreciate the educational thing you're doing here, because you're right. I mean, there's YouTubers who make money off of really clickbaity stuff, and they get paid by ICOs or whatever, or by Dash or whatever, where the cryptos that have marketing departments. And yeah, I definitely appreciate channels like the World Crypto Network bringing honest information and helping people learn about Bitcoin, because yeah, that's the main thing, right? That's the most important thing, that people understand the value, and not just the when the price goes up. Definitely also when the price is not going up, then it's more important than ever.
definitely, and this is the kind of thing we can continue as a side job. I could do this as a hobby as well. It doesn't have to be my main thing, but I do think I wanted to put this out there as an option. People can donate. People can join the Patreon. If we did hit certain levels, this kind of honest, direct, community-driven, not money-based programming could continue. So we do have a choice. Also, I think the sponsors, the advertising, we're working on that. We're working on the other types of videos. We're trying to expand the kind of videos we do here. But there are a lot of options. But again, it's just important to be open and direct about this. We can go up, we can go down. We can find a big whale to work with or a big company to work with. Maybe somebody out there knows a big whale or a big company. They could put the word out. People mentioning it on Twitter, things like this, people tweeting and talking about it in the chat, all these kind of things. It really does help. It's hard to just say, oh, I'm really good at talking about crypto and I've done it for 5 years and that's why people should support me. But that is what I'm saying. That is what we want to do
Well, I just want to leave you with one thing,
when other people say it.
and that's, I think, two people. I actually recently had the pleasure of meeting Tom Vase. Um, and so he's clearly a Bitcoin maximalist, and he really doesn't trade a lot anymore, but he sells his knowledge as a trader, um, which is, I think, a very interesting sort of medium, sort of halfway sort of situation. And the other person who I think is really interesting is, you probably know him, or at least of his work, is Peter McCormack. He has this great interviews, great podcast, and actually he's saying right now that for the first time in a year, it's profitable. He does have sponsors, but it seems to be a lot of integrity and genuine curiosity when he interviews his guests. And maybe his work or his style of work can be an inspiration, because at the end of the day, if you want to monetize, you will have to fulfill some need. You will have to offer something that people are willing to pay for. And I completely understand you don't want to go the right like the sort of scammy altcoin route or whatever. But yeah, there's probably some happy medium where you're happy with the work and integrity of the work, and where listeners, viewers are also getting that much value, as so they want to donate more, or maybe actually pay you by the hour or whatever. So yeah, maybe something to think about a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think that's the way to go, and there is a happy medium out there. I also very much enjoyed Peter's tweets recently, where he talked about much the same thing. It sounded like he had gone from 32,000 to 1.2 million, and then gone back down. So I definitely know what he's saying there, what it feels like, and then like he said, he had to sell it all for taxes. So I think we're getting pretty close to that right now, but we're going to try to keep going towards the edge, try to keep this thing going. But thanks so much for the call, Anthony, and give us a call anytime.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
Bye bye. And you can call us now on Skype at World Crypto Network, all one word, or at 518-600-1949. We're keeping an eye on the price of Bitcoin. The price is 35.38. It's pretty small on that screen for me there, but it's 35.38. We saw it go up. Let's see, get a closer screen. Zoom in some more. We are on a bit of an uptrend. Looks like 35.85 is the current top. We did see a bit of a dip back to 35.24 before settling where we are right now in the middle. Keeping an eye on the price of Bitcoin. Be sure to give us a thumbs up and a share. You can give us a call now at Skype World Crypto Network. Where's the little copy paste thing? I usually have one. But World Crypto Network, Skype, or at 518-600-1949. We're talking about the price of Bitcoin, when you should buy, when you should sell, what we should do next time, how we might have ads and monetization here on the World Crypto Network, or we might go get a job at Subway. Or maybe not Subway, but just like last time, I had to work. I worked for a great company called BTC Jam. We sold Bitcoin loans. It was a cool company. Everyone there wanted to do the right thing. We're good people. It was tough to sell loans. A lot of people did not pay back their loans. It was tough to work at BTC Jam. Then I worked at Purse for a while. Purse is a very good company selling the discounts on Amazon.com. You can shop there with Bitcoin, or I guess now you can shop there with Bitcoin Cash. Not too much of a fan of that, but big fan of Purse. Nice people there. I worked there for almost a couple of years. Then I did this Bitcoin thing with the live videos. We did 90 consecutive days of Bitcoin talk shows with the call-ins right here. We used to do videos with Tone Vase and Jimmy Song right here on the World Crypto Network. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been fun doing videos for you guys. Not sure how much longer we're going to be able to do videos, but we're hoping to get some donations, some sponsorships, and bring it all together. But if not, here's the other book I got. This is a guidebook to the Imperial War Museum in London. It looks just like that. The staircases, very cool museum, lots of great stuff. There's lots of pictures in here. This is another one, kind of a heavy book to be carrying around all of Europe, but I carried around for the pictures, and because I kind of blew through the museum pretty fast. I didn't get a lot of time to spend there. I did it in kind of a morning. And fantastic museum. It's got a World War I floor, a World War II floor, and of course, sadly, it also has a Holocaust floor, which is one of the best exhibits I've ever seen. It was very, very, very sad. It was very sad walking out of there. 2 floors of Holocaust, kind of retelling through quotations and newspapers and a couple of uniforms, and it's all low light and very tasteful and very brings you back into it, makes you remember what happened. It's a great museum, great exhibit. Just because it made me sad, it's not a bad exhibit. We've also got this guide here, Our Proud Heritage, a short guide to Osmasaton, which is again up by Derby, and this is where the Rolls-Royce Museum was, and the Rolls-Royce factory, where they built not only cars but airplanes during the Second World War. It was also bombed. Lots of people worked there, and it's right near my friend's house in England. So very cool. Also got this from the Derby Museum. Here's another from a museum in England. This is the Sea City Museum down in Southampton by my friend Dan's place. And remember, I will stop talking about my books from Europe if you call in on Skype. World Crypto Network, all one word, or at 518-600-1949. Rolando Tech says that I should be a woman and I will roll in donations. Oh, they didn't say that. He said something else. Yes, that would certainly make things different on the show. We could just put up some thumbnails of that too. I could do the show behind a thumbnail, crypto woman. Yeah, no, hopefully someday, I don't know, someday there'll be more women in Bitcoin. That'll be good. But I remember the Sea City Museum. It was very interesting. The Titanic launched from Southampton, which you may think it's just a place to launch from, but it's also where they got most of the crew. So we're talking chambermaids, butlers, valets, chefs, cooks, dishwashers, people like that. And as you know, the Titanic didn't come back. So, woof, very, very shocking and sad story for the people of Southampton, how many of their people were lost on that boat and what a wipeout it was for their community. And you never think about it from that direction. You never think about the city of Southampton and what the Titanic, did to them or what it did. Okay, so here it is. This is a book in a plastic bag. This book has never been opened by me. This is the Masterpieces book from the British Museum. As you can see, Masterpieces of the British Museum. Over 250 fascinating objects selected from the British Museum's extraordinary collection. Are you ready? Let's see. Somebody give me a phone call. They say they should donate a job or they should donate Bitcoin. That would be cool. Or if someone wanted a sponsorship or somebody like Roger Ver got into Bitcoin early and they're like, yeah, I like what you do with the whole Bitcoin shows. Don't want to make a big deal out of it, but here's, some money to run the World Crypto Network. Something like that would be great. But I won't hold my breath. I could be a sandwich artist, or maybe I could do some PR or marketing. I'm a good writer, do Twitter, Facebook, videos. I don't know. There's 90 people watching me now. That should account for something. You'd think. Masterpieces of the British Museum now open. Oh, I saw the Rosetta Stone. Whoa. Okay, so this is the big book of the tour. This cost me a lot of weight. This is very heavy to carry around and bring back. But as you can see, there's the chessman. Just some of the things you can see me flipping by them on the screen. This is not very interesting for the podcast audience, so I will move on. But bronze head of Apollo, wooden figure of the war god Ku Kalihi Mocha. I mean, everything. They have I thought they didn't have a very good Asian section. I was kind of like comparing them to the San Francisco Asian Art Museum. Oh, there it is. A phone call. Let's see. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Good morning, Bitcoin. How's it going?
That sounds familiar. That sounds like me.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, this is Crypt Loco. I'm calling from TJ as usual. I noticed that in the past when I call, I have a tendency to kind of ramble on, and I'm going to try and keep it succinct today. Thanks for doing the show, by the way. But
Thank you. Thank you.
I have this idea that I've been thinking about for the last week, and it's regarding the Lightning Network. So last time I called in, I mentioned something about Einstein and Isaac Newton, and how Einstein changed the perception in science and expanded it and came up with a theory that had more explanatory power than Newton's. I think the Lightning Network is interesting because whenever I say that having multiple currencies is the same, it's fine, just like we have multiple languages, everybody attacks me because everybody wants Bitcoin to be the one currency. I would love that as well.
Well,
But
it's not just that. It's not just that. I would say there's another reason people are attacking you for that. It's not just that we want Bitcoin to be the one currency. There's just something in our history about getting all of our power behind one thing, the network effect. Right now, we're talking on the one internet. There could have been multiple internets. There's been proposals, but we're still using the one internet. When you used to call me on the phone, you'd call me on the phone system, right? It's the only phone system. There's something about that in the network effect. So I don't think it's just wishful thinking that they want there to be one Bitcoin. There's more like there's one email. Like I could, and we've seen what's happened with these messenger apps. I have Facebook Messenger, Signal, WhatsApp, normal messages, Google messages, Skype messages, Telegram messages, WhatsApp. I have every kind of instant messenger, and that's because they're not following this network effect. They're not using the one system. So there is a bit of strength in Bitcoin. So it's not just wishful. But go ahead, Cryptloco. I interrupted you.
well, no, and I 100% agree with you. And I'm just like everyone else, struggling to understand what's really going on. Now, this is what I just, like I said, I just want to talk about the Lightning Network, because here's the deal with the Lightning Network that I think, I know people know about it, but here's why I think it's a game changer for Bitcoin, and not in the way that it was immediately received by the Bitcoin community. So I think that if you have the whole thing about the Lightning Network is that it's cross-platform. So it might end up being that we, with the Lightning Network, create a systematic distribution of Pokemon card type things, because if you have a payment channel open in Litecoin, and I have a payment channel open in Bitcoin, we can transact with each other. So maybe the Lightning Network is the internet. And so what I'm trying to say is that in that sense, Bitcoin could still be valuable, like the way a Pokemon card that is rare is valuable, but it will be transacted upon the Lightning Network, because if you have some Dogecoin in a payment channel because you don't want to risk having Bitcoin in there, there's always going to be a price that we can agree upon with an atomic swap or whatever it ends up being. And it might end up being that Bitcoin is more like a website than it is like the internet. I think that's what I've resolved at this point in time, digging into the information and trying to figure out more about this Lightning Network. I think Peter Todd made a really interesting point when he said famously that Lightning Network is layer one. So if Lightning Network, so that is the moment of transformation from, Newtonian physics to Einsteinian physics, to realize, wait, actually Lightning Network is probably the thing. And it's very immature right now, but when it develops, the promise of Lightning Network is the ability to swap between currencies without an exchange. So if you have a bunch of Dash, and you don't have Bitcoin for whatever reason, then you should be able to transact with me if I have Bitcoin, and it's all going to agree, and it's going to be one network. So I think that's been my thought lately, and I don't know what that means for the price of Bitcoin. Obviously, Bitcoin is rare, but I know that there's probably other callers that want to jump on, or other conversations. I would love to hear your thoughts on that idea of Lightning Network being the ultimate crypto, the panacea of crypto. Lightning Network, insofar as it allows people to be agnostic towards a specific currency, it reintroduces the idea that if Lightning Network is layer one, then it really doesn't matter whether you're a hodler of Dash or Bitcoin or any other thing. It's just a layer or a network like the internet. It is the internet, right? So it's you got to flip your mind inside out to think about it that way. But it seems like that is inevitable. It seems like it's inevitable because people are going to continue to create new languages and want to transact between different things. And if the layer that we ultimately settle on is the Lightning Network, because like I said, if you have a payment channel open in a specific currency, then it's going to be easier for you to transact. So I can imagine a future where you might have a bunch of different payment channels open up, and you could still get Bitcoin, but maybe that's what's happening right now. And I have a feeling that is the conversation that might be going on in different parts of the crypto community.
All right. Well, I think it's a really interesting idea about Lightning Network, and we'll talk more about it here. But I want you to accomplish your goal of being succinct. So really good call, Crypt Loco. Give us a call back soon.
Yes. Well, actually, I wanted to leave with a song, because
Okay.
if Bitcoin does leave, Bitcoin does do what we want it to, then I have created a song. I've been practicing it, and I wanted to debut on the show. So here it goes. Springtime for Bitcoin and liberty. Winter for fiat and cash. Springtime for Bitcoin and liberty. But winter for fiat and cash. Anyway, that's my song. I think it's I want to get there too. So yeah. So that'll be the song that we'll all sing.
All right, great stuff, Crypt Loco. Thanks so much for the song. A little bit of Springtime for Hitler from The Producers by Mel Brooks. Good
Everyone in the community should watch that movie and see that it is exactly the same thing as the ICO craze.
stuff. we can make a bad play and win more money by losing money. All right.
It was the same thing, and there was fraud in that movie, but for some reason, I guess it's okay now that it's in crypto. But anyway, I'll let you go. I'll leave it open to other callers. I'd love to hear everybody's thoughts about this.
All right. Thanks so much, Crypt Loco. Anytime, man. And what do you guys think about Crypt Loco's idea about the Lightning Network? We're talking kind of about cross-atomic swaps and the idea that Lightning is not so much a Bitcoin token as it is more of just a representation, like a link to Bitcoin. And I could trade you a link to Bitcoin for your link to Litecoin, and I could come out on the other side with Litecoin. Does this mean Bitcoin's more valuable, less valuable? I still see a point for Bitcoin as the backbone of that system, as the sound money. Maybe it doesn't move much. Maybe you don't even cash out into Bitcoin that much because it's so convenient to spend Lightning anywhere for anything. But still, you need that backbone, that sound money, that way to get money in and out of the Lightning system. But what do you guys think? Does the Lightning Network solve all the problems? The fact that we can send small amounts of money without any fees? It's not exactly anonymous money yet, but it is small and it is fast. They've been asking for the phone number in the chat. I thought we had it on copy paste, but I lost it. Somebody else put it in. You can Skype us now at World Crypto Network, all one word, or at 518-600-1949. We'll take your calls live. Remember, we only have the one line. So if somebody else is on the line, just wait till they're done and call in after that. You can call us now. We'll try to keep this show going. Seems like it's been quite a long one. The viewers have been going up or down. It seems to me if I just keep this little window open here, eventually someone will call. Eventually someone will watch. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Just Buy Bitcoin from the First Coast over in Florida.
All right, Just Buy Bitcoin. What's on your mind today about Bitcoin? Any idea about this Lightning Network thing? What do you think?
I'm a little bit behind on the live show, but yeah, I was just calling in to disperse some of the fudge you're spreading about $5 fees. Come on, that is absolutely not happening.
I know it's
around
not
thousands of dollars for pennies. What are you talking about? You guys using SegWit addresses or what, man? Come on.
All right, the fees aren't $5. The fees are like $1, whatever it is. If you're going to send around $1,000, you're not going to worry about $5 or $1. It works great, and you could send $1 million. You could send 2 million to me directly. I'll put the QR code up again.
Yeah, no, I take your tally coin. I appreciate you, Thomas. But yeah, I'm gonna catch the rest of your show. Just got back from the farmers market. Got some wonderful fruits and vegetables. Gonna make a nice roast later, and yeah, enjoying another beautiful day in this crypto space. Just buy Bitcoin, everybody.
Sounds great, man. Good call, and thanks for reminding us of the normal things. We can all just, eat some good food today, sit on a chair, lay in a bed, have a heating pad or a blanket. There's all kinds of good things that are still out there, and they don't cost very much, and
Push-ups.
we can all make it through
Push-ups
this
are
thing.
free. Do a bunch of push-ups also.
There you go, push-ups. Let's do some positive things. I agree with this. We need to be on a
Oh,
positive habit kick
also
here.
with the fees, I mean, you guys use a nice wallet where you can set, your send priority. I mean, you don't always need your money in the next block. I mean, I can send transactions for 1 Satoshi a byte. It's fantastic. So also try to use a wallet or a service provider that gives you that freedom.
I would like to see more wallets with easier to set fees. I use a Green Address right now. They're supposed to have a new update out. I hope that will fix everything. But yeah, it looks like it's a little tough to set the fees. It's a little confusing for new users. I know I've been paying. I haven't sent that much lately, but it was like it's like a 50 cents to a buck. Maybe it's a lot, maybe it's a little. I'm always like, oh, I don't care. I just want it to send, and whenever it does, I think it's magical that we've used this internet to send some kind of value over it, even if it costs 50 cents or a buck or whatever. So,
Oh no, absolutely. I'm very much buy and hold, but I have purchased some things, and it is a fun experience. And also, I mean, just like Adam Meister says, get that one Bitcoin. Make sure you know how to send and receive a Bitcoin. Make sure you know how to do that comfortably before you go around messing with altcoins and just playing on an exchange. You don't really get the full experience. You don't hold your private keys. You don't really have your coins. You don't really know how to send them. You've never sent them. You've never made a transaction. You've never given some coin to somebody you've never received. There's a there's a whole world out there. It's fun.
definitely, I think we should all be active Bitcoiners. You got to take part in it. You can't just buy it and hold it. You got to buy it and send it around, and then hold it, and then send a little bit more of it around, and hold it in different wallets. Hold it in different hardware wallets. We got lots of options.
Mm. Well, Thomas, thank you very much. I'm gonna catch the rest of your show, and I hope everybody has a great day.
All right. Thanks so much for the call. Give us a call anytime. And you can call us now on Skype, World Crypto Network, all one word, or at 518-600-1949. Definitely agree with what Just Buy Bitcoin was saying there. He got some vegetables from the farmer's market. He's going to make a roast, a little salad. It sounds good. I think we all need to just appreciate the little things. Did you have breakfast this morning? I had plain oatmeal. It tasted great. So the little things. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, what's going on? My friend is New York Bag Guy calling from the GDL. I'm super into this conversation, man. I'm just getting into this crypto stuff.
All right, welcome, New York Bag. Just getting in. How recently? What's happened so far? Fill us in.
Oh, probably the past like almost six months or so.
6 months is pretty good. That's pretty good. That's not like last week. Okay, so how's it gone? Did you go up or down with us, or have you just
The only
ridden the
thing I'm
down?
trying to figure out is, do the Jews control the cryptocurrency the same way they control the banks?
It doesn't seem like it. Of course, we don't know either of those things, but it seems like a more equal
Oh, sure.
market. But of course, I think that the
Whatnot.
money.
We definitely know that they run the physical money. I'm trying to figure out a way where I can get out from under the boot, man. Is cryptocurrency it?
I don't know. I can't really comment on that either way, but I do think it's a new technology and something to try out. But in the same way, I think it's very possible that the old money could just move their old money into the new system. So it's very tough to
Like a
fight an
cashless
entrenched
society.
system
These
like that.
Jews will take us over way too quick with that. I just want to shout out the GDL, man. Handsome Truth. Check them out. Sub them 16. Thanks, man, so much.
Thanks so much for calling in, and give us a call anytime. Yeah, we've got some controversial opinions on here. They're throwing them out there, but we're rolling with it. I don't think I don't know, global internationalist conspiracy. who wants to go down that road? Let's focus on some positive things. But good for the call, and good to have a short call too. Remember, you don't have to call and talk forever. You can call with a good question or call with your comment here. It's an open forum. Anyone can share their ideas, and I don't know. People are complaining in the chat. They say it's the Russians, the Chinese, and the Jesuits. So, oh well. But we're gonna keep the show going here. I was showing you treasures from the British Museum. If anyone doesn't want to call in, we're checking out masterpieces of the British Museum. Just a fantastic selection. And if you are in London, go to the British Museum. Spend your lunch break there. Take tomorrow off. Go on Saturday. It was only £5 to get in, and the £5 is optional. So if you're really tied up, you don't have to give them £5. But big fan of the British Museum. Jake McKay asks in the chat, he's got a good question. He says, have I tried cold card or open dime? I haven't tried cold card yet. I think it's one of those Visa card things. I tried the Shift card and such back in the day. I have some open dimes right here. I have not cracked them open yet. They say £5, like $10. Well, it's a donation. It's it's like the Met in New York City. You can donate money if you want, or you can go to the museum for free. It's pretty sweet. So no, I haven't tried out these open dimes yet. I got them here in the package. They look pretty nice. These are supposed to be Bitcoin wallets, so you can buy about 3 of them for $40. They're not exactly disposable, but they're single use. So I could give this to someone, like I could sell you this. I could say, hey, there's $50 worth of Bitcoin on here. We plug it in, it'll verify. If you knock the little chip out, I don't know how you do that. I'm going to read more about that and probably feature it in my video when I do the video. But if you knock the little chip out, then it exposes the private key. So then when you put it in, it'll show the private key and game's over. I wouldn't take $50 off your little card, but it's a good one-time single-use disposable Bitcoin wallet to give to people. So Open Dime, check that out. OPENDIME. Cool stuff. I'd like to check out the cold card. I think that's just another Visa, though, so not that much. Foxcourt says, has you seen the Vivian Mayer photo book? It's very cool, black and white photography. I haven't seen it, but I have seen the documentary about Vivian Mayer. I don't recall the name right now. Finding Vivian Mayer would be my guess. But great story about this guy who went to a garage sale and he found all these photos and he found all these negatives and they were great. And he bought more of them and he bought all the boxes he could at the garage sale and he brought them back to his storage unit and he started to understand this incredible photographer that basically the world had never seen. She was a nanny to some children and she would walk around the streets of Chicago with her, I forget the name, but it's one of those cameras you look straight down into. So you can see actually into the lens, so she could actually see what she was focusing. Not a large format, but something like that. The kind of camera was different. And she would look down and snap, and she'd snap people all over Chicago just living, Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Dan from Oregon.
Hey, Dan, how's it going? What's on your mind about Bitcoin today?
Oh, I was just calling about the Lightning Network question, the caller that you had on earlier.
What'd you think?
I disagree that it's some kind of it just sounds like a bunch of FUD that Lightning Network is somehow going to make Bitcoin irrelevant. That's crazy. I mean, the Lightning Network, yeah, they're making big gains as far as onion routing and game theory around payment channels on onion routing, which is great. But is that a bigger breakthrough than proof of work? Is that a bigger breakthrough than Bitcoin? I doubt it. And what makes all those altcoins that you want to atomically swap into better? Sure, that's just altcoin FUD right there.
I could agree with that. I think maybe what he's trying to say is that now we have something new to be excited about in Bitcoin. And that sure, we were excited about the original Bitcoin, but it's been so long and it's slowed down so much. Maybe we need something new. And being excited about Lightning is our new excited thing. But
Oh,
yeah, I think it all goes back.
totally agreeing with that because I mean, Lightning Network's looking like it's going to be the killer app. It's going to be the platform upon which all the killer apps are built upon, which makes it the killer app. I mean, you could say Bitcoin itself is the killer app, you know, but I mean, really, I mean, if you want to talk about a killer app, it's going to be Lightning Network, it looks like. So, you know, we're just going to use that and all these tools that can go sub-Satoshi transactions, micro transactions, all these things are going to be built on Lightning Network. And that's how Bitcoin has to scale. I mean, Lightning Network's the most helpful thing to ever happen to Bitcoin. It's not going to hurt it at all. It's going to make us go to the moon. It's basically what we were planning on the whole time, all these years. I mean, because we didn't know that Lightning Network was going to be the solution 10 years ago or 8 years ago. But now it's, you know, it's looking like it's answering all the questions that we always had.
And it's funny.
About how we're going to scale properly.
I feel like we were so close to these questions years ago when we were having the public argument and fight over ChangeTip. And for you guys that haven't heard, ChangeTip was this tipping service. You could tip Bitcoin over Twitter, but of course they wouldn't actually send the Bitcoin. They would do it internally in their database. And they basically created a structure on top of Bitcoin that had all of the problems of the previous structures. You could go in and edit your database. The database would get out of date. The database would have other problems. Whereas we all know the Bitcoin, the blockchain, the ledger, the way it works doesn't have these problems, doesn't have the double spend problems. So they kind of made a copy of Bitcoin, right? But what we were talking about at the time, these things like a token substrate and another layer and a layer on top of Bitcoin where we could send around small transactions is actually the Lightning Network now. So it's funny to see how close they were to the problem, but how far away they were to the solution. And certainly they had a lot of venture capital and they burned it in a big fire and they had lots of parties and a lot of people, you know, wrote some nice code that went into the ChangeTip website that disappeared and is gone. And they weren't even able to sell the IP to some other country. They never open sourced it. It never contributed. But in that way, though, we were talking about this very problem, this layer 2, this scaling problem. So it's interesting. These things have come so far, but not really.
Yeah.
It's still kind of the same thing, right?
I'd be curious to look at Peter Todd's quote about it being layer 1, though. I mean, I'm sure that may have been misinterpreted as well. I have to look at it directly to see what he was talking about there. But I would say with Lightning Network, I mean, as far as the Tipbot thing goes, if you noticed on Reddit, the Tipbot is now back on our Bitcoin with Lightning Network tipping. And now, and it's funny because when B-Trash first came out, they were all bragging about how they had a tip bot. Oh, yay, we have a tip bot now because we have these big blocks. And, you know, and it's like, okay, cool, man. Well, like you have your tip bot before we did, but we have it properly now because you can't scale on chain, you dummies.
Exactly.
You know, it's just like they'll never learn, though. But I've learned that most altcoins, that their FUD is totally disingenuous most of the time anyways. I mean, they know it doesn't scale. They're just total scammers, you know?
I totally agree. And we also see them all these like world's first, like sending so-and-so an altcoin over a text message. And it's like, yeah, we did that in Bitcoin. And it's like sending it over Twitter. Yeah, we did that. They had a whole company to do that. Sending it over Reddit, like you're saying. Yeah, that company for a while took over the Reddit tip bot, replaced an open source on-chain tip bot with their off-chain token substrate tip bot. It's great to hear that they've made a Lightning version and that is going that way. I'd also say if there's anyone out there that codes that looking for something to do, we have this piece of software that we had. We collected donations from the community. We had them write it. It's called ProTip, and you can try it out at protip.is. It rewards people for making Bitcoin work. And if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, you can check out the code right here at GitHub. You could download this, edit it. You could add Lightning Network to ProTip, and you would be the one who did that. So if you're looking for a project, this is all right here. ProTip scans the web pages you visit for a Bitcoin QR code or a Bitcoin code. Then it saves those. It times how long you spend on the web pages, and at the end of the week, based upon your allowance, it tips the people of those web pages. It even works on YouTube if you put it in the description of your YouTube video. So check it out, protip.is. You can also do recurring payments if you wanted to make your own version of Patreon that donates to Mad Bitcoin, say like $10 a week or whatever, you could create that in ProTip. It's a web, it sits in your web browser. It's a Chrome plugin. You could just put, 20 bucks in there and it'll just donate money until it runs out of money. It's pretty amazing at ProTip. So
I got a pro tip for BitPay and companies like BitPay. If you don't want to become irrelevant and go bankrupt like all the other ones that tried to do it on layer 1 Bitcoin, maybe you guys should be developing Lightning Network capabilities for your payment processors, and then maybe you could actually succeed and make profits.
definitely, and watch out there. Companies like BitPay or even Change Tip, as we were showing the pro tip there. If people don't like you, they'll open source your idea and take it to the internet. So Nicholas Dorier took this idea here for BTC Pay server, and it basically does what BitPay does, but in an open source and free way. So you can try that out: BTC Pay server or pro tip. Yes, the internet will take your ideas and turn it into open source software, which kind of ruins your companies. So
Cool, man. Well, hey, thanks for having me. Thanks for taking my call. Have a good day.
thanks so much for the call, and give us a call anytime.
Sounds good.
All right.
Talk to you. Yep. Bye.
There. You can call us now on Skype at World Crypto Network, all one word, or at 518-600-1949. This is kind of an epic show this morning. I think we got a late start to it, but we're just going to keep going because I got more books here. I haven't even shown you all the books that I got in Europe. This latest book is called The Best High Rises of 2019. While I was in Frankfurt, I got to go to the Frankfurt Architecture Museum, a fantastic museum, and they featured some of these high rises. As you can see, the book has been wrapped in plastic since I was in Frankfurt. I'm going to open it live right here on the air. The excitement of opening books live. If you're just joining us, be sure to give us a thumbs up and a share. If you rewind back to the beginning of the video, I did do the Bitcoin news, if that's what you're interested in. We are keeping an eye on the price of Bitcoin, but maybe it's better to keep an eye on something else, like a nice lunch or going for a walk or getting a massage or buying a book. Books are pretty cheap. You can always get yourself a book, maybe a CD, maybe listen to a nice jazz album today. There's a lot of things that you can do that don't involve Bitcoin and the Bitcoin market. Oh, new book smell. This is a fresh book and it smells like a fresh book. You can see this high rise. They're growing grass and plants on the outside of the structure. One of the new ideas for buildings and one of the top 10 sky rises this year. Tell you my favorite, the one I bought the book for. Well, I bought the book because it has two sky rises from San Francisco, my old home in here. This one is right nearby the freeway. Has these jagged lines across it. Very cool, very strong support structure. Kind of the opposite of the Transbay Tower, which they didn't sink the posts in enough for and is leaning. But they also had this great one in Bangkok. If you guys are ever in Bangkok, Thailand, to see if I can find it here in the book. But oh, this was good too. This is unreal. This is a building in China. It looks like it's entirely built out of glass, and it has this arching connection in the middle. Also, it doesn't seem to have any corners. It seems like a totally round or wave-shaped building. A very interesting building in Chaoyang Park Plaza in Beijing, Peking, China, by the Mad Architects. I love the Mad Architects. Funny. Oh, wow. This one's really cool too. Everyone gets their own deck. The building looks like a bunch of pieces of paper stacked together, but not a straight stack, a bunch of diagonal stacks so that everyone has their own private deck space. I'll bet that's an expensive building. And here it is at last. Probably the last building I'll show you guys today. This isn't really working for audio. This is the one in Bangkok. It has a bunch of blocks missing from the building, and the entire building seems to shift to the right, then back to the center. Then there's more missing blocks at the top. It looks like a kind of a destroyed building. So interesting stuff from the Frankfurt Museum of Architecture, best high rises of 2019. This is the Dam building in Frankfurt. And I'm pretty much out of books, but I did get this great book from my friend in England. It's all about religion, and it's kind of a philosophy book. It's the collected works of Eugene Halliday. So you guys can check that out here on the internet. You would have to Google that, and you'll have to find out what these books are about on your own. I've skimmed them. I've read the first chapters, checked it out. Very interesting, very heavy philosophical work about religion. But just want to thank everyone for joining in, checking out my incredible books today. I'm going to address the chat a little bit more, but we are heading towards the end of the show as it starts to become 12:15 here on the West Coast. The price of Bitcoin is $3,541. We've seen a bit of an uptick from $3,235 all the way up to $3,585 before falling to $3,540 where we are right now. Checking out Tallycoin, we want to thank again our donors. Looks like we had 2 donors today. Thanks so much to our 2 donors, 0.0028931 and 0.1. Excellent donations. Thanks so much for supporting the show today. Remember, we don't have a lot of advertising here. We have the YouTube advertising. Of course, you can just pay YouTube. They'll get rid of that for you. We've got maybe some more sponsors, maybe some more advertising. Maybe you know somebody that's Bitcoin rich who wants to support the show as a lark, as a joke. They could send it to it. They say this show's pre-recorded. Come on. I couldn't be more live. 3555. We're busting out. That's on Bitstamp. Seems pretty live. But we're checking in with the chat one more time. Jay Lucid says, if the World Crypto Network are duped and start supporting SV, then all hope is lost. Like the Jedi deciding a tea party with the Sith is a good idea. I can't believe what I heard earlier. Well, again, don't do this whole blaming thing. And remember, at the World Crypto Network, we want to address and explore ideas. We don't want to be restrictive on our ideas. If Shem Boosbane thinks that Bitcoin SV is a good idea, let him check it out. Let Shem explore that idea. I don't think he directly said it was better than real Bitcoin. I think he mainly said it was better than Bitcoin Cash. But I was watching this morning too. It was fun. And I think it's fun to let him go his own way on that, let him explore it. The same way we let Andy explore B Rhodium. I don't think B Rhodium is a good idea, but people have the right to explore it, to put the ideas out there and to check it out. If you want to buy it or don't buy it, it's your decision. I think we're just here talking about the information, and we'll see what Shem has to say in this whole SV thing. It's been an exciting story. I certainly thought nothing of it because it's a Bcash fork, and I just don't care that much. But oh well. So nice. And that's about it for the show. I love this guy Connor in the chat. He says it's a conspiracy. I have a dark window behind him. Yeah, and Jeremy, it's fine if your alarms are ringing and you don't like what Shem's saying or whatever. But just try not to take down the whole World Crypto Network. I know everybody's always into doing that. A lot of people have made that their example and what they want to do, but we're still going here. We're still cranking away with these videos, even though it is daytime and yet nighttime. Magical. It's always nighttime. I need David Letterman. I could throw some pens at the background for you. Here you go. Oh yeah. But there it is. Thanks to everybody for watching. I threw a David Letterman style pen just for Connor in the chat. Be sure to donate. Be sure to sign up at patreon.com/WCN or patreon.com/madbitcoins. You can donate with your credit card. You can donate with your Bitcoin. And I've heard they're adding the Lightning Network to Tallycoin. So pretty soon we're going to be taking Tallycoin donations right here with the Lightning Network. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to give us a thumbs up and a share. Put a comment in down below. You can call in next time. If you didn't call in this time, that's fine. You can make notes and practice. Be sure to give us a thumbs up and a share. He's telling you, did you see it? The pen went through the window. All right, Connor. Thanks for the conspiracy theory. Until next time, bye-bye.